Good afternoon. It is raining, pouring where I am. So I decided not to do a walk and drench and talk. But ironically, while it was raining, I was swimming today. And so I couldn't figure out a way to swim and talk. So why am I making a special effort to talk on a day when I'm not required to, that I need not? And it's because of the state of America. I think it is very good that our president is striking out and talking about the soul of the nation. I think it's right that he's calling the Republicans, including Trump and others, what they are, fascists or semi-fascist as he prefers. But here's the problem. We talk and we talk and we speculate and we think. And in the meantime, Trump throws up all manner of diversion. Presently, he's trying to have a special master appointed so that he can delay further, perhaps past the elections, any inquiry into his criminal behavior, or at least conceal it or divert our attention from it. That cannot stand. And the reason it cannot stand is because we see more and more leaders in the Republican Party striking out and suggesting manners of violence should we choose to indict or charge with crimes Trump. That's not acceptable. We have a man impeached twice. For most people with a 60 IQ, we knew this man was going to be trouble if he ever won the election. And he was. And we have seen through the two impeachments outrageous crimes that he committed. And currently we're focusing on his removal of top secret documents from the White House that he further concealed when he was asked to produce them. And he didn't produce them in response to requests, to subpoenas, and finally there was a search warrant, and many more documents were found that are top secret. This is not just about that offense. You may remember during the impeachment that Congressman Schiff said, if you don't vote for him, he will do something else. We cannot tell what is the worst that he could do, and we shouldn't wait to find out what that is. It may have already occurred. It may have occurred with these documents. So what am I saying? I'm saying the time to speculate, to imagine, to wonder what we can do is long past. Our Attorney General, yes, he appears to be prosecuting the case presently, but for more than a year and a half, he did nothing. Nothing. And he's assembled a team, but it's not clear to me he has the resolve to go the distance. I'd like to be proven wrong. I hope to be proven wrong. But here's the timetable that I think is critical. We have to stop talking and act now. And I don't mean to give Trump what he asks, which is to say, because the election was stolen, his view, his wrong-headed view, proven wrong a number of ways, that he should be installed because he lost the election because of fraud. Secondly, he says, well, if not that, then why don't you have the election now? Don't wait until 24. Now, this is a two-part strategy. One part is to divert our attention from what he's been doing with these secrets, just as the request for a special master is to delay until perhaps after the midterm elections, when Trump would be in a better position to mount his autocracy. So what can we do? Well, everybody's familiar with what a grand jury can do, and we all know about the 3 charges that were supported in the affidavit in order to get the search warrant, in order to retrieve the documents that are top secret that were found at Mar-a-Lago. Now, a grand jury, and this confusion drives me crazy, is really a tool that the prosecutor uses. The prosecutor presents the witnesses to the grand jury. The prosecutor drafts the indictment, the grand jury subpoenas, whatever is served. And so the grand jury is such a tool, it has really no identity, except in the few cases in history there's been a runaway grand jury because some jurors were smart enough to figure out how to employ these skills themselves. That's not going to happen here. So we could have an indictment. But if we need to act now before our investigation has gone its course, we could issue a complaint. Now, a complaint is usually the narration by, say, an FBI agent of what has happened here, identifying the crimes, and with that complaint, not an indictment, with that complaint, it can be served on Trump, and he would be arrested and presented before a magistrate for purposes of bail. That's what we should do. We have to act, and not only with regard to the prosecution of the head of the snake. We have to also look out for the efforts to drive this nation to violence. And how do we deal with that? Well, if people protest for prosecuting Trump, that's all well and good. That's a First Amendment right. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about violence again, crimes, just like happened on January the 6th. When they invoke riots in the street, when they say that these things are going to happen, they're not suggesting that people mass and write their congressmen or complain about what's going on. They're talking to the cultists that follow Trump and his minion, if you will. And this is not acceptable. Now, we can talk till we're blue in the face saying something should happen now. And many of us have. And there have been some outstanding prosecutors in the public eye who have been Department of Justice apologists, in my view, and they think something should happen now. But this is not a majority decision. This is a decision based on what would happen if you or I committed these offenses. If I took home a single document that I concealed in my jacket pocket, and I was found to have this top secret information at my home, I would immediately be arrested. I probably would be in custody because of the nature of the document seized. Why did I seize it? What was I doing with it? Was I taking it just home for a convenience? And I would very likely get time in prison. That's what happens to a person who is not above the law. Trump is not above the law. We keep saying it, but we don't act that way. This is not a complicated case. The man has documents he shouldn't have. He has no good explanation for it. Not that that matters. The knowledge is that I knowingly possessed documents that were top secret. In the White House, he must have directed his chief of staff, Meadows, to do this and to talk to others. And he always does the most terrible offenses in the presence of others and makes notes and talks to people about it. So in conclusion, let me say this. I wish the rain would wash away the stain of Trump on this nation, but that's not going to happen. We, the people, as it's written in the Constitution, are the only ones that can rid us of this man. And we have to talk, yes, to our representatives and to the people at justice, where there are some, I am sure, knowing what kind of people become prosecutors. There are some who want to go now, and they're being held back. We talk about prosecutions by junkyard dogs. That is what you need in this case. And you have to fight this case in the courtroom and in the public, because this is not like other cases. And some say it's without precedent. It's without precedent because of the crime of a president that has not been seen in the history of this country. And we fiddle away. We don't act. So it's time for us to act. The time is now. And anybody who tells you otherwise is compromising our nation, compromising our democracy, and paving the way for the autocracy that Trump and his others want. And we are not part of that. People are not part of that. All people will not be equal before the law. There will be discrimination. There will be abrogation of rights. There will be rule by fiat. And our country will be emptied so that it's just a husk of what it was as a democracy that the world looked to. So I leave you with those thoughts, and tomorrow I'll probably walk and talk on the trail. And I can't swirl around in the darkness here. So I'll see you on the trail soon enough. Do what you can. Bye-bye.